WiFi Tribe started about 5 years ago, and it was really just a moment in my life where I'd just been working all the time. I was trying to build these different startup companies, and they just weren't working out. So I was fed up with it. I'd spent way too much time focused on that, and I said, okay, right now I just need to stop all of this and focus on my lifestyle, right? Because I'm not getting any younger. Time is going by, and so I sent an email out to 100 friends and said to them, look, guys, we've got this house in Bolivia. I'd love to invite you guys over there. It's kind of like my childhood home, and I've been to Bolivia a lot, so I can show you that country over the weekend. If you have work, bring it along. I'm going to take my work along as well. I'll be doing some freelance work in that time. And I'll just show you the place, and we'll spend maybe 4 weeks there if you want to, right? So at that point, only about 7 people or so said, yeah, sure, I'll go. And it was entirely for free, right? We were literally just inviting friends over. And one of those people was my now co-founder, and she had been traveling and working remotely for about 2 years up until that time as well. And so she said, well, why don't we try to make this something a little bit more sustainable so that we can do it for the long term? And that was when we then set up a quick website on a really crummy sort of site builder, posted that out into a few groups on Facebook, and then probably had another few people join in for that first trip. But that was it. And then from there, really 1 month at a time, we would just decide the next location, go there. It was very, very organic until suddenly we realized that we just couldn't maintain our freelance jobs anymore, our freelance work, and we had to focus fully just on this thing, right? So that's really the story of how WiFi Tribe came about. What does it mean to me? I've been working, working obviously at WiFi Tribe, but I've been living really with this community for the last 5 years. I spend typically about 10 months of the year traveling and living really on site with everyone there. So it's become a permanent lifestyle, this life of living and working and traveling at the same time, but also spending this time actually with the people. So if you look at it from like a business perspective, people might say, oh, that's a bit weird. Like, where does the CEO live with the with essentially the customers? And we also always never refer to them as customers. It's really just members, and we are all essentially just members of that community, right? So that's what it means to me. And as we move forward with this, that's also the evolution that we want WiFi Tribe to take, right? It's always going to be about the community, about bringing people back together again, bringing people closer together again. And travel is just basically one of those things that we all have in common, that we all love. It's one of the excuses that allows us to meet each other again and again around the world. There used to be a time 4 years ago where I knew absolutely everybody that came into WiFi Tribe because I was meeting every single person on a chapter. And then we slowly started adding chapters. Chapters are our trips basically for 4 to 6 weeks in a place. Up until just before COVID, where I think we had about 5 trips running at the same time, and this would be in different continents, right? So Asia, Africa, Europe, South America, we do a lot of trips there, right? So at that point, obviously, once we started growing, we did have to hire a team in to help us out with those different things. There's different people running the trips. We call them chapter hosts. It's a lot like a dinner host, basically. And we've just had to scale operations, if you want to call it that, in that kind of way, but we still try to make it easy for people to see each other again and again when they rejoin for another trip, right? There are people that have been with the community now for years. I think the leaderboard right now, there's somebody who's done 15 chapters with us, right? So, and each of those being about a month long, means that these people really are investing a lot back into this community. COVID at first hit us really, really hard. Travel company doing co-living. You can imagine that is the worst 2 things that you can do if you want to try to survive COVID. So we had to just shut everything down in one moment. It took us 6 months to start our first trip up again, but we quickly realized that as long as we could make it through this, something really big was about to happen, and something was about to change on a global scale. So we've been looking at this industry now we've had an eye on it for 5 years, right? Ever since we started. And our predictions were always like, maybe another 5 to 10 years, you're going to start seeing a lot of people sort of shifting into this lifestyle because they're going to pitch it to their employers. Employers are going to see that there's value in giving people these benefits so that they can attract better talent, right? So there was a natural movement already that was happening. But what happened with COVID is that it forced the entire world into this global remote work experiment, right? And when they're now coming out of it, you see that people are going to be in a position where they can go back to the companies and say, well, it turns out it worked, right? It wasn't really such a big problem. Or even the companies themselves might say, hey guys, actually this is okay, we're going to keep doing this. And that's exactly what we're seeing now with a lot of these bigger corporations who've committed to maintaining their remote work status. So what does that ultimately mean for us, I guess, or for anybody in this space? Well, if people can work from home, they can basically work from anywhere. And we already knew that there was a huge portion of people who were, signing up to our newsletters who said, how can I get this lifestyle? When maybe only 2 or 3% were actually able to have that lifestyle, right? Those were the people that would then apply and that might then join the community, right? So we're now looking at that 97% of the people who are interested in Wi-Fi Tribe, but were never able to do that. And now is a moment where so many of those people are slowly going to start being able to take advantage of this kind of travel.